Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in right here, Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you for the next couple of hours. We were never going to leave you on a Monday, Adam. In crunch time, there was no chance that we were not going to make sure we were coming in today with the best fantasy football advice, the best draft advice, because the good people need it. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, of course. We're not going to take off. I know. I joked with you last week, and
Yeah, I
you had
believed
this
you.
look like, oh my goodness, you can't do that. You have to be here for Labor Day. I am. We don't take any days off. Hard to believe that it is the start of football season. We've been drafting so much, and there are still a lot of drafts to be had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I know I have one tonight. I don't know if it'll be my final one. As of now, it is, but I
Probably
feel
not.
like something could pop up Tuesday, Wednesday, even Saturday, because I did do a Saturday draft last year. But
Saturday, that's right.
yeah, but tonight I have another one, a Beat Adam Ronis League. So
I kind of want to join that one. Oh, it's calling to me, you know?
there's a few spots left. So if anyone wants to jump in, play ffwc.com, 9 p.m. Eastern tonight, or go to my Twitter at Adam Ronis. You'll see it pinned at the top. So couple spots left, and I already know there's a couple of really good players in there. So
Dang it. Then I'm not joining. No, I'm kidding. Then I don't want to join. Those are always sharp drafts. So maybe
yeah.
I've got the ESPN drafts tonight, which I'm
Oh,
kind
so
of
those
excited about.
those are easy.
I
Fit.
know. Well, I'm excited to be totally honest, because then I can come in tomorrow and tell you my teams, and you'll be jealous of them. Yeah, I'm a
I
little
hope
bit
you read the
excited.
articles. I know I did one. I think Ian has done stuff.
Oh, for
Dwayne.
sure.
So
Yeah,
yeah, if you are
I
drafting
wrote
on
one early.
ESPN, make sure you check those out.
Yeah, just the ADP differences, even up till now, Adam, that's the thing. I thought, oh, okay, maybe week before the season starts, things will, kind of come together, and maybe some of those ADPs won't be as different as when you're drafting on, Sleeper Yahoo. Wrong. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. I'm gonna have a super team. I already know it.
Yeah, you gotta hope that your opponents aren't
I know.
as sharp, because I do see people do pay attention to the draft software, whatever is in front of them. I don't know what it is. It must be like a human emotion. Like, well, this guy's at the top of the queue. How can I pass him now? I don't even care. Like I said, I just have my rankings, and I could care less. It's just timing for the players that are buried. A guy like Tedero and McMillan. That's like the
Oh,
tough.
my
Like,
favorite.
it's like, what do you do in that situation? Do you just take them where you have them ranked and say, I don't care what the ADP is? Do you try and play chicken and play another round? That's the tough part, because there's always a couple of people in your drafts that probably are aware that many players are buried low as well.
Yeah, it's he's come down though. 66 on ESPN. Ted has.
Yeah, he still goes
It's
earlier
still a
than
little.
that in most
Yeah,
formats.
it's still a little late, but I don't. Like you said, it depends on the draft room. One college, it's my college league today, and so I kind of know that I probably need to get him a Emeka Egbuka a little bit earlier, because a few of them are pretty sharp, and then others, like you said, just go by ADP. Whatever's at the top of the queue, they'll go with. So it'll be fun, and then
Yeah,
maybe a beat Adam Ronis league.
yeah. Well, we'll see if you. I mean, it'll end like right around your bedtime, maybe a little
What time
after
is it?
9 p.m. Eastern.
Eastern? What are you talking
Oh yeah,
about?
that's
Those,
right. I forgot. I was
yeah.
thinking.
I was like,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
I
No,
go to
that's.
bed early, but if you're saying 7:30, that's where I draw the line. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is when I'll go to bed.
Oh my goodness, I cannot
What?
believe that.
I know. Well, that's because you stayed up till, what'd you say,
Like
3:30?
3:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were just so excited about football, baseball. We're in crunch time.
I'm not excited about baseball right now. I
Why?
was on
Oh, the
Thursday. I
Mets.
was on Friday. I'm not
Did you
now.
go to the game?
I went on Saturday.
How was it?
I think that's the first game this year that I went to that they actually lost. I have to double check that, but I have to see. Yeah, they were down like 5-0 before I can get into my seat.
What?
Yeah,
You were
on
late to the
Saturday.
game? What
No, no,
happened?
no. I was
Oh.
grabbing a drink
Oh,
before.
wow. You never do that.
I was with someone who wanted to get a drink, so you're like, all right, fine,
You
I'll
were
get one
like, I
too.
guess I'll do it. That's when you know you're not locked in with the Mets. You tell us you're like, I'm in my seat all the time, and I'm not getting up for anything, any food,
I did it the
anything.
rest of the game.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they were down. Wait, are you being serious though? They were
Yeah,
down
they're
five
down
nothing.
5-0 in the
Wow,
first inning.
yikes! But they came back. Look at that.
Yeah, and lost. So
Oh, they came
yeah,
back and
so
lost.
don't worry. I have the Cowboys this week to brighten my mood. Oh wait,
Woohoo!
forget that again. Fantasy betting, thank goodness.
Thursday Night Football. We've got our week 1 rankings up and live too if people want to go check those out. Because Adam, it's about that time. But of course, we know that people are going through drafts today throughout the week as well. So we're going to try and, we're going to play the best of both worlds here, because we're going to make sure that if you're drafting today, later this week, going into this weekend even, that we are making sure we're still giving you the best advice. We'll go through, we're starting start sits, Adam, which is super fun. Again, week 1 rankings are live at fantasylife.com. My waiver, updated waiver column also live at fantasylife.com, 100% free. I know waivers for me, Adam, started today. So put some in, made sure to at least look through the waivers, see if I needed anyone. Some teams, I told you this, some teams I drafted in early mid-July. Woof. I really had
Yeah.
to go to the waiver. I was like, oh man, this looked good at the time, but now we have, updates and everything. So that is all live at fantasylife.com. Adam, we didn't have much news to go off of over the weekend, except for the big one. Of course, after I do a draft, Jalen Coker gets put on IR. That was brutal and unexpected, I want to say. So the team announced that they were planning to place Jalen Coker on IR. I think it's a quad injury that happened during practice on Thursday, day after my draft. But again, it's totally okay. So he's going to miss the first 4 games of the season. And it feels like, with this update, he was someone that we were saying, hey, later back half of the draft, go and get Jalen Coker, because he feels like the better player compared to Xavier Legette. We know Xavier Legette is still on this team, but he felt like someone that could, potentially rise up the depth chart. But now it's really Tetairoa McMillan. Xavier Legette is someone that, we're paying attention to as well. But that news stunk. That wasn't fun to see.
Yeah, it did, because the cokeheads were out in full force, all excited for Jalen Coker getting an opportunity. And yeah, I had moved him up the rankings. I remember taking him in a draft, I think like 2 weeks ago in round 18. And I was looking at my team. I was like, wow, look at this. This is looking good. Even Coker in round 18, probably not going to find a way into my lineup, but nice to have that player
Yeah.
in case something happens. He was going to be in the slot, and a lot of people expecting that Panthers offense to take a step forward this year. So, yeah, that was disappointing. I think that was that Saturday? Yeah, it was, because I
Yeah.
remember it was before I left for the game, and I pushed it out to let people know, hey, if you're drafting today, make sure you're aware of this news, because that can slip by people. And yeah, just a tough break for Coker, who will miss at least 4 games. So yeah, he
Yeah,
started
they said
moving
4
up.
to 6.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
moved up to like round 12. I saw in some drafts. I know I had broadcast the NFFC Super on the channel on Friday, and I think he went in the 12th. That's a $2,500
Okay.
buy-in. So yeah, he was really moving up.
Yeah, and again, it stinks. I took him in I had my draft last week in the Beat Kendall League, and I think that's where I took him. It's just one of those things where that's why you always want to pay attention, because I'm sure some people went into drafts over the weekend, and maybe if it was a deeper format, you say, hey, I'll just take a flyer on him. But again, looks like 4 to 6 weeks for Coker. Are you doing anything with Hunter Renfrow? I mean, is this someone that, because he is now, because he's now re-signed with this team, do you think that he could potentially have any kind of role in this offense?
I mean, he could. I think in your typical league with 16 roster spots, no. Uh,
Mm.
maybe with
Good story
20.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you want to see how it plays out in week 1, but I think we all know that McMillan's just going to get a huge target share. It does help Leggett, and Jatavian Sanders is one to keep an eye on.
Oh, Jatavian Sanders. Yeah, that's a good call out. I just if we're talking about players that you have a lot of exposure to that we hope work out, Tetairoa McMillan is one for me, and it feels okay, right? You're really
Nah, you
just
should feel good.
it feels okay. Feels all right. It's really just, the fact he's already up to 128 and a half targets for our projections at fantasylife.com, which feels better. They were a little lower in the earlier parts of the summer, but 128 targets, 82 receptions, over 1,000 receiving yards, and about 7 touchdowns for Tetairoa McMillan is what we have projected for him. But yeah, you're really just hinging on the fact that you hope that Bryce Young is playing at the level that he was towards the end of last season, instead of the early season where he was, we already all remember, he was benched and then was able to come back. But yeah, the Tetairoa McMillan, a lot of rookies though. Did we go too hard on the rookies? This is not just you and I, but I mean, we do it every season, right? We talk about it and we say, hey, we just, you know me, I talked about Roma Dunze a lot last season. I loved a little Marvin Harrison Jr. Can always say when we're wrong, but sometimes you get a little bit hung up on the fact that these are rookies, they're coming in, they're the shiny new toys. But we've got really good rookies that feel like at the beginning of the offseason, Adam, we were saying, some of these guys didn't land in great spots. They're not going to be able to produce right away. Now, months later, we're sitting here saying that at least, we've got maybe potentially a Emeka Egbuka really starting off the season strong. We've got the potential for Matthew Golden. We've got Travion Henderson. We like a lot of rookies this year.
Yes, we do. I know I have a lot. I know I did, the month of the mock the other day,
Mhm.
and I didn't even realize it looking at the article. 6 players on my team were rookies.
Uh-oh.
So I'm
It's
there
fine.
with you. Yeah, I've been pretty aggressive on some of them too. But look, we knew this was a really good rookie class, especially at the running back position. And then some receivers have gotten into some favorable situations. We have a couple of tight ends. So, I mean, the quarterbacks really for Superflex. I mean, yeah, it's really Cam Ward, right? And
Yeah.
that's more Superflex. So, not much with the quarterbacks, but definitely the running backs. And several of them have been moving up draft boards
Hmm.
and a couple receivers as well. So, yeah, I think a lot of them are going to work out. Of course, there'll be disappointments. It always happens. You mentioned a couple from last year, but it bodes well. And a guy like Tedero McMillan, usually a receiver drafted where he goes, they tend to produce immediately.
Yeah. Here's hoping. And again, it's one of those things where a couple months ago we were like, "Oh, okay, this could be okay." You have to be patient with some of these guys and they'll step up, but for the Emeka Bukas of the world, for the, he's not a rookie, but Ricky Pearsall and Matthew Golden and all these other guys, yeah, it'll be interesting. Jaden Reed. Did we talk about that last week? Was that after the show maybe with that foot fracture?
We
But
might have we might have
I think
brought
I
it up
might
at
have
some point during the show.
mentioned it, but does that not make you a little bit nervous? I hadn't by mid-July, I started to change, and instead of I was drafting one or the other, right? And I was saying, okay, I want a piece of either of these guys because if one of them hits, I want to be on top of it. But then, mid-July comes, training camp comes, and I started to take more Matthew Golden. I just said, you know what? Because of where they drafted Matthew Golden, because of the potential that he has, I'm just going to go in this direction. But yeah, it's the foot fracture with Jaden Reed that he's going to play through. It's a Jones fracture in his left foot, and playing through that makes me a little bit nervous for anyone drafting him potentially.
Or I think you should be very nervous because he's basically saying he's working through it. Even though there was a quote from last week, he's like, "I didn't feel 100%, but it felt great to be out there." Like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
I don't
cool.
like that.
Yeah, so he's a player that I didn't draft anywhere, and
Really,
I
even earlier in the
yeah, I
off
wasn't
season? Oh,
drafting him.
really? Okay.
We don't see him on two wide sets. They spread the ball around. I mean, we know he's a real talented player and he has the ability to put up big numbers, especially if Jordan Love is healthy. But now with this news, just cements it for me where had to push him down the draft board. So I feel like someone else is always going to take him over me.
Yeah, still not being 100% and trying to play through. That's a significant injury to his left foot, by the way. The Jones fracture is not something where we just say, yeah, it'll heal. I mean, you're supposed to not play with that, but it's a Jones fracture in his left foot. Typically requires surgery to repair and then, a couple months of recovery time. But, here's hoping that he is able to stay healthy throughout the season because we never want injuries. But like you said, Matthew Golden, then because of that, he's been soaring up draft boards, but that just kind of solidified it. I've got a lot of Golden. I kind of didn't notice it because of where he goes in drafts. It's not a premium price that you're paying at him, but yeah, I need Matthew Golden to work out would be nice.
So I think it depends on who and where you're drafting with. I know in sharp rooms he has moved up. Like he is basically 7th round now, pretty much in every
Hmm.
sharp room I've seen. I think you even took him like end
Yeah.
of round 7 in our GST, which was I guess last week now, or was that 2 weeks ago?
Man, that was already last week. Last Saturday?
I guess it was.
Two
Yeah. Wow.
Saturdays? No,
Yeah.
last Saturday.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Anyway.
think you're seeing him go in he pretty much 7th round. You might even see him move up to the 6th round in some like high stakes drafts that are occurring this week. But
Hmm.
yeah, in home leagues, maybe you might get him a little bit later, maybe a round or two later.
Yeah, and I'm okay taking him in the 7th, though. I mean, I've taken him at the
Yeah.
7-8 turn. It just depends. Some people like, let me see, 4, 5. Because Emeka Egbuka is usually going in the 6th now. I was
Yeah,
at,
I
or
see fifth a
5th.
lot, and that's usually because I'm taking him in the fifth, and I don't care.
So if you're not drafting with Adam, he's going in the, but it's true, sharper drafts. I mean, this was the circa women's series, and he went in the 6th, and then I took he went in the 6th by
But that
me.
was 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago, and then I
Yeah,
took Matthew Golden, in the 8th. So you can see both of those guys have kind of moved up a round in drafts.
yeah. I'm looking now. So Golden in my home league went in the 7th round as
Mhm.
wide receiver 42 off the board, but that was someone using my rankings. So,
But I like that. I don't think that's a bad price to pay, like 7th
oh no,
round, and you should
yeah,
already have, I mean, depending on how you're drafting, you should already have your starting receivers solidified, and then a couple of running backs there. So now you're really just filling out, you're starting to look at the flex positions, and things like that. So I don't think that's a crazy too rich price to pay for someone that it looks like will be a significant contributor to start the season.
yeah. And for that team, that was their fifth receiver too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
They
there are
definitely have your
two flex
rankings.
spots in this league though. So,
Okay. Is it a FFPC?
no, no.
FFWC? Oh, okay. Got it. That's fun though. Yeah, yeah, I like Matthew Golden a lot. Matthew Golden, the Mekik Buka, please. Tedero McMillan, we need you. You're right though. Some of these rookies are not going to they're not going to pay off, and I'm going to be really sad to figure out who it is. Hopefully no one that we have a ton of shares of. That's all I have to say. It
Egbuka cannot fail. If he does,
he,
then I'll probably be broke.
he can't fail. He's not going to fail. We're not going to put it out into the universe. Is that your guy? Your one? Please don't fail.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
probably say so. I think, yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be fine. Last piece of news here, just really quickly. AJ Brown. I know that a few people I've seen, start with the start sit questions. We're definitely going to get into that later in the week. We've got our rankings though for week 1 live. If you guys do have questions, you want to just set your lineups, early this week to make sure that everything looks good, and then you change them closer to game time. Absolutely. I've been doing that too. But go to fantasylife.com. All of our updated week 1 rankings there. We're going to update them every single day. It does look like, AJ Brown said he will play on Thursday Night Football against the Cowboys. There were some questions here, Adam, if he was going to play with the hamstring injury, because of course we can't have nice things, and AJ Brown is already dealing with a hamstring injury. But he said, barring any setback, he is going to be started, and a obvious safe wide receiver 1 going against the Cowboys defense.
Yeah, you just have to hope that they were just being cautious here because we know how tricky hamstring injuries can be. I thought I would have way more AJ Brown this year. I think it's a product of where I'm picking, where in
Hmm.
the early part of the draft, he doesn't make it back. And then if you're at the back end, there's some receivers you like better. So you really kind of need a mid first round pick to get him because I do think he's going to bounce back. If you look at his first 2 years with Philadelphia, he had 145 and 158 targets. Then last year, it dropped to 97 in 13 games. But clearly last year was the outlier, and it was just they didn't really need to throw as much. I had seen some
Hmm.
stat, I can't remember it exactly, but like the amount of targets, receptions Brown got in the second half of games last year was insanely low. And a lot of it was they had big leads, they had so much success with running the ball, they didn't really need to pass that much. So I think a lot of people had AJ Brown last year, like, oh, he had a disappointing year. And I did have him, and I wouldn't say it was disappointing, but it didn't live up to the expectations because the targets went down so much. He still had 1,000 yards. He still had 7 touchdowns through 13 games. So if he had finished the year or played 17 games, we're probably looking at 1250, maybe 9, 10 touchdowns. So he was on pace for a really good season if he had played the 17 games. But if he can get back to the level of the previous 2 years with Philadelphia, then he's going to really crush his value. And that's the one good thing about Philadelphia is you know where the ball's going, right? When they
Yep.
pass, it's Smith, it's Brown, it's Goddard. They really don't mess around and spread it around. So, yeah, I think people will be happy with AJ Brown this year in the mid-second round.
Yeah, I like AJ Brown, like you said. I think he's a high end wide receiver 1 talent that goes sometimes as a low end wide receiver 1 because people are a little bit nervous about it. I don't have a lot of him either. I actually think I ended up with more Devontae Smith, but it's more of a product of where my draft slot was because, like you said, AJ Brown, at least in the ones that I've been in, he kind of goes right in the middle of that second round. And I've been at usually either end, except for one time I was at 6, which was so nice, Adam, by the way. Kind of want to get back to that, but it's totally fine. I don't need to. But yeah, he's just impressive. We know this Eagles offense is probably going to look like the 2022-2023 version where Jalen Hurts, I mean, he was averaging 227, 247 passing yards. So he could see a spike, like a huge rebound if that does happen with Hurts in this offense. So I'm open to AJ Brown. If anyone's listening that's drafting with me, if you just want to let him fall to me, I'd be okay with it. But he is looking like he is likely to play for Thursday Night Football just a few days away, Adam. Oh, are you ready? Oh, you're not.
As a Cowboys fan,
ready.
no,
I mean,
not ready. But
it's fine. Is Diggs playing?
don't know.
Oh, okay. It's gonna be fine. You've got fantasy football and sports betting to get you through the season.
Yeah, and then I get another game Friday to forget about the disaster on Thursday. So we'll have Chiefs Chargers, which is always entertaining.
In Brazil. That'll be a fun one. All right, we're going through running back handcuffs. We've got tiers for you guys. I know we've always talked about this, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We've got the names for you. And of course, we're here for you on Labor Day. Make sure you send us a message at Valenzuela17 at Adam Ronis over there on X if you have questions. We'll also open up the phone lines for you guys, but we are here for you. Week 1 is just days away. Running back handcuffs here coming up next. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here on this Monday. We could never leave you guys when it's draft week, big draft weekend, Adam, big draft week. And we've got football starting on Thursday night. So we are here with you at Valenzuela17 at Adam Ronis over there on X, talking through some running back handcuffs. Let me just talk about this at the top here. You might have seen, if you've got notifications on your phone or anything like that, you might have seen a report come out that the Browns rookie running back Quinshon Judkins could be back with the team, quote, as soon as this week, according to Mary Kay Cabot, reporter out of Cleveland. What do we say, Adam, though? Just be careful. He could be back maybe practicing. He's still unsigned to that team. And I'm still watching and waiting and seeing if the NFL is going to have any disciplinary actions for him as well. But just be careful, because when you see those reports, you might think, oh my gosh, well, he's back, he's signed, he's ready to go. Maybe he's able to play week 2. We just want to exercise caution with reports like that and just be careful. Not saying, don't take him necessarily, Adam, but it's we just don't know what could happen with him yet.
Yeah, you could start thinking about him in the double-digit rounds, right? Because at that point, it's a bench spot. So you're not drafting him with the intent for him to contribute early in the season. So, Dylan Sampson's really moved up. People were thinking, okay, he has a real opportunity early in the year with Jerome Ford. So, yeah, we'll see, because she's making it seem like he could actually play a little bit this week, which I find really difficult to believe. I mean, he hasn't even been practicing.
I know, and he's not signed yet. I know that can take, that can turn in 10 minutes, but yeah, again,
it's her, I guess, opinion and speculating. Obviously, she probably has some sources that are leading her to this, decision potentially happening. She did say there's the debate over the guarantees in the contract is what's likely holding this up. So.
And my other part is that I know he's cleared of criminal charges, but I don't think when we're talking about this from the NFL, that doesn't necessarily mean league discipline to me. And maybe that's wrong. It's just another layer of things that when you're drafting and you look at Quinshon Judkins at his price, depending on where you go, we're not saying now we've changed over the weeks where we didn't think that he was going to play at all this season. And now there was a huge change just a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, ESPN, he goes pick 154. So when you're talking double digit rounds there, sleeper, it depends on where you draft. Sleeper, he's going pick 82. It's too early for me. 82 is a little too early. 111 on Yahoo and then 109 on CBS. If you're drafting FFPC, 128, guillotine leagues, he's pick 90. So it really just depends on the platform.
Yeah, and I think guillotine leagues, it's a guy that's really difficult to take right now.
I know, unless, yeah, I don't know. I had a couple guillotine league drafts over the weekend. Oh my gosh. I can't get out of pick 18, Adam. You know how awful it is? Usually 12, I can deal with it, and I'm just going to be a little bit dramatic about it. But pick 18 in a guillotine league draft, once you get to the third round, who is there? Nothing. No one's there. I'm gonna blame that if I get chopped early. All my picks.
Yeah, apparently
It's
they're
the
trying to
worst.
bury you at the end
No,
in
I
these
know they're
drafts.
scared. They're scared of me. I understand it. Beat you last season, so it was one of
No, you
those things
didn't.
where
Don't make things up.
So yeah, Quinshon Judkins, you'll probably see that news floating around today. But like you said, Adam, double digit rounds, as long as he's not a starting running back for you, and you make sure to draft around him as well. Not to say that, I mean, maybe you won't get zeros to start the season. Who knows what could happen? But just making sure you draft around him just in case the worst case scenario does happen. We're okay with it. Running back handcuffs, running back tiers, how we're looking at some of these guys going into the 2025 season. I think tier one, when we talk about some of these guys, a lot of them are not, in our opinion, handcuffs, right? When I look at someone like David Montgomery, when I look at someone like Jordan Mason, J.K. Dobbins, those are three guys in this tier that are going to have standalone roles. So Montgomery, Charbonnet, Tyler Algier, Jordan Mason, J.K. Dobbins are all in this tier of guys that are probably the most expensive guys to have. I think Tyler Algier is going to be the one that's the least expensive. But again, some of these guys, maybe four of them, at least four or three of them, have standalone value already.
Yeah, you could see a lot of these players being started in deeper formats or those that went heavy at other positions and just waited on their second RB. Like David Montgomery, we still want to see what the role is going to be. Is it going to be similar to what we've seen the last few years now with a change in offensive coordinator and maybe Jahmyr Gibbs getting a bigger workload? So that's something to keep an eye on. Zach Charbonnet, where it looked like initially, I think many of us thought June, July, yeah, it's Kenneth Walker's backfield. Charbonnet will only produce or get significant touches when Walker is out, like we saw last year. But we saw Charbonnet look great in the preseason, and Kenneth Walker dealing with this foot issue that kept him out for a long time. Do they want to preserve Walker, keep him healthy, and maybe make it more of a timeshare or maybe 60-40? So that's something to keep an eye on. We already know Jordan Mason is expected to play a big role in the backfield for Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell came out already and said it's 1A, 1B. Aaron Jones, 30 years old, started to wear down towards the end of last season. They brought in Mason, traded for him, paid him $7 million guaranteed. And then
Hmm.
J.K. Dobbins, we've been hearing, especially with R.J. Harvey trying to adjust to pass protection. So yeah, it looks like at least some of those guys could be in that 25 to 35 rankings for RBs in week one, where
Yeah.
you might be in a situation where if you did go light on running back early, you might be starting some of those guys. And I probably am in that situation in a few leagues. So that's the thing. If you do that, like the first week, it looks ugly, right? You look at your team, you're
Yeah.
like, all right, let me set my lineup. Oh, who's my RB2? Jordan Mason, J.K. Dobbins. So yeah, it doesn't feel good early in the season. But remember, we're playing a long game here.
Yeah, I've got some Zach Charbonnet in my maybe
In your
maybe in my
lineup this
start.
week as RB2?
Yep. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. That's
Well,
what I have to
I'll
tell
ask you
myself.
next week and we'll see if you are
Yeah,
okay
probably
with it.
not. I think out of all the four of these guys, though, in tier one, Montgomery, Charbonnet, Tyler Algier, Jordan Mason, J.K. Dobbins, that realistically, if you're looking for a true handcuff to the RB1 on these teams, Tyler Algier is the only one that's priced as a pure handcuff, right? It's going to be hard for you, and you don't necessarily have to do this. I know that you hear handcuff and you think, well, I got Jahmyr Gibbs, I need to get David Montgomery. I've got Kenneth Walker, I need to get Zach Charbonnet because a lot of these guys are priced as just starting running backs. And so it's going to be really hard to do that. Again, I think Tyler Algier is the only one going pick 167 on ESPN where you could turn around. And if you get Bijan Robinson, yes, important to get Tyler Algier. If you get CMC, yes, important to get Brian Robinson. But for some of these guys like a Jordan Mason, like a J.K. Dobbins, you're not going to be able to do that just because of how they're priced this year.
Yeah, and that's really what it comes down to is how much does the handcuff cost? In some of these situations, it's just too pricey because you're still searching for a flex spot or a starting spot when these guys are on the board. And it's not ideal to have a lineup where you're starting two of these guys from the same backfield. It's
Yeah.
just not what you want to do.
Man, Kenneth Walker, he's got the chance to. I really do still think he has the chance to be a league winner. I really do. If he is able to stay healthy with the workload that we're expecting from him, because he reached a career high 16.5 points per game last season. They gave him an expanded role in the passing game, took over the 2-minute offense, and 69% of the snaps. You saw his route participation go up. I mean, everything's right there. It's just now a question of, staying healthy. And we don't want to draft scared. We never want to do that. But it is one of those question marks where he comes around and he says, okay, this guy could either win me my league, or he could, depending on the price and where you're getting him, he could, not bury you, but he could, he could bring you down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty high on him, and I really don't have him, or definitely have not taken him anytime recently. So I would like to have him
Maybe
somewhere.
tonight?
So we'll see if I can get him
Yeah.
tonight. But yeah, I think there are a lot of people that are just crossing him off the list because they're just like, oh, he's always hurt. And you're still getting him in the fourth round.
Yeah.
And that could be your RB2 with the potential to finish as an RB1. We talked about Clint Kubiak in this system and these running backs. So, yeah, the injuries are clearly there for Walker. But people act like he's missed like half the year every year. He's played 15, 15, and 12, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, he's missed time. But I guess, too, the foot injury doesn't help.
I
And
think it was because he was also banged up in training camp.
yeah, and
He was held out a
Charbonnet,
lot.
every time we've seen Charbonnet step in, he's produced and, look good in that one preseason game, and everyone remembers that and pushes Charbonnet up. Charbonnet has, like, at least in, like, competitive sharp leagues,
Hmm.
man, he is going, like, in the 7th round. Like, people
Yep.
have been aggressive on him. So, I wonder, trying to remember, like, have you seen him, like, go in that range too in drafts you've done?
Oh
Because
yeah, because that's me. I've
oh,
taken
that's
him
you?
there.
Okay.
To be totally honest, if I've missed out, so I took him. What round is this?
Yeah,
9. I
because
took him 9. That was pretty late, actually.
yeah,
And
that's
then
kind of a little bit later than what I've seen going, which 9 is about, I would be okay with 9
I'd be
because that
okay
could be
with
your RB
8.
three. You hope. I mean, you hope it's your 4, but if you're drafting him there, that means you're probably light on running back. So you're probably getting him as your
Yeah,
RB 3.
he's my 4th. I got
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
Hampton, Harvey, Montgomery, Charbonnet.
Oh,
Um,
see, I think you probably should have skipped Montgomery and gone somewhere
I
else.
know, but I didn't think I thought Charbonnet was gonna go, to be
Yeah,
totally
he went,
honest.
so in mine, he went 9-12 in my home league, where if he would have made it back, I was definitely taking him.
Yeah, to be honest, I just thought he was gonna go because I wasn't really gonna take him in the 6th round. It's just too early for me. But then he came back around, and like I said, where he went in round, what did I just say, 8?
9.
Yeah, 9. It's just I just looked at him and I was like, it was right there, Adam. I couldn't pass him up. And then he's my 4th. That's the team that I have: Lamb, St. Brown, Hill, Emeka Buka, Matthew Golden. So
Yeah, that's some pretty good receivers
it's a
right there.
nice
I
team,
mean,
but like we said, they
if
need to hit.
Tyreek Hill pops, my goodness, that is going to be
I
a
know.
really good team.
Let's hope so. I'm crossing my fingers there. So again, not we're not saying, we're drafting Kenneth Walker if we have the chance, but also Zach Charbonnet, you're right. He's gotten pretty expensive. I want to keep going through these because now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the tier 2, tier 3 running backs. We've got 6 guys that are pure late round handcuffs, but we're going to rank them and especially talk through the Jacksonville Jaguars, looking at the Giants as well, the San Francisco 49ers. We're going through that here coming up next. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. That's right, football fans. Watch your local NFL games live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. This year's schedule is absolutely stacked with rivalries and revenge games, including the next chapter of the epic Bills Chiefs saga. So stay connected to it all on any device at home or on the go. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today and count on Sundays for another must-see season of the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Oh, I've got you covered. We've got you covered right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Did I tell you in that draft, the Beat Kendall League, that someone's team name was Folgers Forever or something like
No
that?
way, for real?
Incredible. Yeah. I was like, this is
uh,
this is my
that
favorite.
team is destined to fail.
Stop. Get out of here with that negativity. They could win it all. I didn't see their draft, but Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. Folgers, it's catching on. No, it isn't catching on because everyone knows how good it is. So it's
Not
continuing.
anymore. Well, now it's too
What are you talking about?
expensive. Wasn't
Well,
your whole thing that
no,
it
there was
was
a
that it was,
it
cost
is.
efficient? Now
It is cost efficient.
every coffee is going up though.
My mom called me the other day. She goes, "There's a sale on Folgers. Get to the store
You
immediately." I
did,
was like,
right?
"Perfect." Oh, for sure. Stocked up. Got everyone love. Come on, you don't love a sale, a
Oh
deal?
yeah, of course. That's
Yeah.
why I always
So
tell people when you're going to fantasylife.com, use that promo code SXM20, get that 20%
look
off.
at you, a company man. I
I
love
am.
that. Wow, the mid morning, we're like mid-season form right here. Tier two. Anyway, tier two, no clear path for us to get to Folgers and tier two priority, handcuffs in fantasy football, except Folgers is a priority. So there we go. Late round, these are pure late round handcuffs, I want to say. I mean, there's a couple guys on this list. So I'm talking tier two, Ray Davis, Trey Benson, Brian Robinson now with the 49ers, Bhayshul, Tuten, Will Shipley, Cam Skattebo. And so there's a couple guys on here. Like Bhayshul, Tuten, we really don't know this Jacksonville Jaguars backfield. I've taken stabs at all three of them, to be totally honest. With the most I think I have is Tank Bigsby and Bhayshul Tuten. I have the least amount of ETN over there, but we really don't know what that's going to look like. But guys like Ray Davis, Will Shipley, Brian Robinson, they're really not going to see the field. Not a lot, not enough for you to put them in a flex spot, starting spot, because it's really going to probably take an injury for them to see that kind of workload.
Yeah, the Jacksonville backfield is one that we need answers
Ugh,
to. I have the most ETN and
do
then
you?
Tuten next. So the thing with Tuten is that he's the back that this regime drafted, right? So they really don't have any leniency towards ETN and Bixby, but they went out of their way to draft Tuten. So that gives me a little hope. But at the same time, with ETN, it looks like he's been mostly running with the first team, and he is a running back that 2 years ago was one of the best in fantasy. And last year, obviously, was a disaster. If you look at any of his efficiency metrics, it was really bad. He wasn't
Yeah.
100% either. So, but yeah, that Jacksonville backfield is definitely one we need the answers to. Ray Davis, did play last year, but not good enough to start unless Cook was out. We're hearing Benson could play more. Even James Conner said it,
Yeah, that
which,
was weird.
yeah, it was weird.
Maybe he
Just
wants people to draft, to not draft him so he can get him in, he can draft himself in his own league.
probably, yeah,
That's
another
probably
like
it.
fifth round value for Connor, who, if you look at all the, metrics last year, he was still near the top. Forced missed tackles, like everything.
Hmm.
Like he really didn't slow down and got hurt late in the year. So yeah, so a lot of these guys, I've drafted them not even just as handcuffs. Like sometimes the way I build my teams, I'm just trying to pile up the running backs
Yeah.
in the double digit rounds, and these guys will find their way out of my teams. And some you're going to need an injury in a lot of cases. Maybe the one where you don't could be Tuten if they see him as the
Cam.
preferred back.
Come on. You don't want to say anything good about Cam Skattebo?
I mean, no, he's
I
got a
think
shot. I mean,
for
especially if
him though, it's really
Tracy.
the fumbles and the drops for Tracy. If we
Yeah,
saw if we
exactly.
see
Like if
that, that's
Tracy
gonna be
fumbles week
yeah.
one, and then Skattebo gets a shot, goes in there, and looks great, then that's the ideal scenario if you drafted Skattebo.
Yeah, exactly. Tyrone Tracy averaged 13.5 points per game over 13 games as the starter, 11% target share. So or it just turns into a committee, which we don't want for anything. But yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars are the one that's, I think, been the toughest to crack. We haven't got, I mean, because we've gotten no clues, right? ETN did run with the ones, but that to me seemed like an of course situation because he has the three down skill set. He's a former round one NFL draft pick. Obviously fell out of favor towards the, not even towards the end, just last season. He averaged a 53% snap share over the final 6 games. So, Liam Cohen, we know that everyone in there with the Jaguars wants, explosiveness. And that's kind of why they look at Bhayshul Tuten and draft him. But if you have someone coming to you, Adam, because I've had this same question and they say, I'm only in 2 leagues. And who should I go for with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Who are you telling them to go and get? It could be none. Like sometimes someone said that they're in one league and I just said, you know what? At that point, depending on your team and where you're drafting, sometimes if it's not the last pick, who it would be Bhayshul Tuten at that point, I'm like, maybe the last guy that you can get, because you don't want to be wrong.
Well, it would be if I can get ETN in round 9. I've been doing that, and then Tootin in double digit rounds. I don't think I have any Bigsby, so it would be those two. But again, you just don't. Even every time I press the button on ETN, I'm like, should I do this?
Little cringe.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is one of the backfields that we really need the answer to, because if the offense clicks under Cohen, we've seen those running backs have value. I think that's why everyone is trying to get a piece of the backfield, and it is not costly either at this point. I mean, ETN around 9, if you are in a league that does start 2 flexes, then yeah, that is a valuable pick because you're hoping to get a starter in that range. But if you're in a more shallow format, say just 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 flex, then yeah, at that point in round 9, especially if you have even 3 running backs at that point, you could take that chance on ETN and hope he's the guy. Or this could just be an ugly 3-way committee
Yeah, it could just be that at the end of the day, but
until a
we're gonna
trade
get
occurs.
we're gonna get some answers. I mean, we wouldn't be shocked if ETN was traded, right? They draft Tootin, they have Tank Bigsby. He had all the early down work. He had 48% of the rushing attempts last season, non-existent in the passing game. It wasn't good in the passing game, 2% target share, but we'll just have to wait and see. That's what we're going to have to do with this Jacksonville Jaguars backfield. Okay, that was us going through some of our favorite running back handcuffs going into the season. I want to go through the all upside team here, Adam. What if they don't fail? What if they do prove that they can still play football? I'm going to go through some of these names and what it means for them coming up next. We're best friends. What are they talking about? Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Hopefully everyone is having a great Monday. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here. Phone lines, let's get them open here. 888-963-2682, or press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. But we're definitely, especially today, here for you guys. You guys listening to us right now on a holiday, we appreciate it. I see some questions coming in through X. So again, at KValenzuela17, at Adam Ronis over there. If you've got questions, hanging out with the family, don't have time to call, that's okay. We're going to be there over there for you as well. But want to get to as many of those as we can in the water cooler and throughout the rest of the show as well. A little bit of news here, Adam, because, I feel like news always breaks when we're on, which I kind of love. But new deal for Jaylen Warren. The Steelers and Jaylen Warren, their running back, have agreed to a 2-year extension per his agent. And I've got a good amount of Jaylen Warren. Doesn't mean that I like it, but it's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. Is that the saying? I'm okay
Yes,
with
it
it.
is. Haven't heard that in a while, but
Yeah, there you
yes.
go. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why I'm saying thank you, but again, 2-year deal over there for Jaylen Warren. Yeah, we'll see what Caleb Johnson kind of cooled off as the training camp went on. So again, putting our faith in the Steelers at all is kind of scary, but good for Jaylen Warren. I like that for him.
Yeah, some people have been waiting for Warren to get this opportunity. They saw Najee Harris was gone. They're like, okay, here we go. But they knew that they would likely draft a running back, and they take Caleb Johnson in the 3rd round. And yeah, some of the preseason wasn't great for Caleb Johnson, and pass protection is an issue. We know Aaron Rodgers, he's not going to take that. But like, yeah, get this guy out. I need to have some time here to throw the football. I don't want to get crushed. So yeah, that's another backfield too. We're trying to figure out, is it going to just be a split? Will Warren just play a similar role to what he has done the last couple of years? Does Caleb Johnson come out and play really well? So yeah, you're seeing, well, Warren, where he goes, especially if you do go with that hero RB, he's got to be in play at that point,
Oh
because
yeah.
there is a chance that he plays more than we think.
I've had Jaylen Warren ahead of Johnson, to be honest. And if I'm wrong on that, then I'm wrong. But that's just kind of how I've had it in my ranks and just how I've looked at this backfield. He had 45% of the snaps in his healthy games 2024. Yes, he's battling for work, and it was one of those things where Najee Harris was out of the picture. I said, okay, perfect. But yeah, I mean, I think he's that mid-range running back 3. I think he can make that RB2 push though if he does lead the team in rushing. And I know that's a big if, but that's kind of what I'm betting on on. Again, I'm comfortable where he goes. You're not paying a premium for him, so I'm okay with it. Now a 2-year deal. Look at that. All upside team, by the way. What if Christian McCaffrey hits? We're gonna have none of them.
Yeah, if he does.
That's one
Look,
of the
and
guys.
he is like a scary fade. Like if you
Oh,
are
for sure.
not drafting him, you're worried or you think the price is too high, he could easily finish at the RB1. We know that, right? Especially
Mhm.
with the way it is shaping up right now with all the injuries they have. And it's just basically him, Pearsall, and Kittle right now because we still don't know about Jawan Jennings. So it is scary because we know. And look, he could have a huge first week. It doesn't mean, oh, I made a big mistake. You know, he's healthy right now and the reports have been good, but that is a scary fate. He can absolutely finish as the RB1.
No victory laps after week 1. Everyone listening to us knows that. You gotta wait a little while, but it is a scary fade for sure. We're here to answer your phone calls, any questions that you have about fantasy going into week 1. Call us in. We're going to the water cooler coming up next. You know what time it is. It is time for that fantasy life water cooler. We're going through all the pieces of news that you might have missed over the weekend and today and making sure you are all caught up before your fantasy football drafts. And I know a lot of people are drafting today. We've got a couple drafts today, Adam, but it pays to be in the know. And we're going to make sure that you guys, again, are fully up to date on everything going on across the NFL and getting you ready for those drafts. The phone number, again, 888-963-2682, or press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. We're over there on X as well. We are at K Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis. If you can't get through on the phone lines, don't have time right now to call, that's okay. We're over there as well. So let's get into it, Adam. There wasn't a ton of news going on. I will mention again that the Panthers and Jalen Coker is going on IR. Jalen Coker suffered a quad injury. I believe that was in practice on Thursday. Over the weekend, we got that news, and people were rightfully upset. What do you call them? You call them the Cokeheads, which I don't.
Yes,
We
he's
call them
got,
that.
yeah, it's
Right.
fine. They're a
Okay.
big fan base there. You know, he was getting some buzz, and especially with the trade of Adam Thielen, it was opening up an opportunity for him to play the slot in an offense that people expect to pick up where it left off last year. And yeah, Coker started moving up round 11, round 12. I remember looking back on a draft when I saw the news and I was like, I have him in round 18. Wow, what
Mm-hmm.
a pick in round 18. And now got to figure out what to do. This league, 9 bench spots, no IR. So, but still, you know, having a player on your bench that you know is going to miss at least 4 weeks, if not more, can be difficult. Now,
Yeah.
again, maybe early in the year, if there's no hot waiver wire pickup, you can hold on. Some people have IR spots. That's easy. Just put them on there, pick someone else up. But yeah, if you only have like 6 bench spots, you probably have to move on.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where move on if you've got, like you said, if you got an IR spot, maybe stash them there, and then there's others that we can look for. I know they brought back Hunter Renfro, but again, that's probably deeper formats. I don't know if I'm necessarily drafting Hunter Renfro. Xavier Legette is the guy that continues. He was still there. We just figured that Coker would be able to jump him in the depth chart, but it's Tedero McMillan's team, and we're just living in it. So again, another more news there, but he's expected to be out at least 4 to 6 weeks. We got good news here over the last 10 minutes. Looks like Mike McDaniel did tell reporters that Achane will practice today, and Tyreek Hill and Darren Waller are on track to play. Not that I think a lot of people drafted Darren Waller, but just in case you did, Achane will practice today for the first time since suffering that calf injury 3 weeks ago. So good news again. If you drafted him, puts him on track to play week 1, which is what we want to hear. I had him early in the preseason. I had a lot of him just because I was always getting pick 12 and he was always there, Adam. So I said, okay, I'm going to pair him with a wide receiver. Did it make me nervous? Yes. Does it still make me nervous now? Yes. But at least he's back at practice. So that's okay.
Well, let's just hope that we don't have a repeat of last season. And then at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on
Why would
Sunday,
you say
we
that?
get reports
What
Devon
is wrong with
Achane
you?
is inactive.
Why
I'm
would you
just
put that out
saying.
there?
I'm just saying.
You're
Just
making
because
my
the
stomach
coach
hurt.
says he's good to
I know.
go does
Well,
not
and they
mean it.
haven't even said. They said, it's the first time since the injury 3 weeks ago. And then he said if HN doesn't have any setbacks, he will play Sunday versus the Colts.
Yeah, he's returning to practice. He's on track to play. So
What's wrong with you?
I hope it works out. Do I have any
I was gonna
chance?
say, do you?
I like him a lot. If I do, it's probably best ball.
Do
I
you like
don't
him a lot pre-injury or post-injury?
pre-injury. I mean,
Okay.
I've been a little obviously trying to figure out if I'm on the clock and he's there. I did pass on him once, and I look
Ah,
back and I'm like, I hope that doesn't come back to burn me because we all know like Achane is capable of putting up
mhm.
massive numbers at the running back position. He obviously needs Tua, so he averaged 22.6 fantasy points per game in
That's
PPR
insane.
with Tua at quarterback last year. So we know the numbers dropped a lot as Tua was just getting rid of the ball quickly to him and Jonnu Smith last year. But, Achan was good between the tackles his rookie year. So, like, he can get there in a variety of ways. So, yeah, some people probably got him late second round over the last week. And that could turn out to be a really nice bargain. There's probably a team out there with, like, CeeDee Lamb or Jefferson with Achan. And
Yeah.
not many people can say that.
Yeah, the Dolphins offense, I mean, as a whole, they have question marks, right? But Achane has the profile that we always look for in fantasy football. He is a big pass catcher. He's got the playmaking ability that we always look for. And the biggest questions really are not only his health now, but it is, the health of Tua Tagovailoa staying healthy for as many games as he can. The offensive line, I think, too, is one where you'll just have to pay attention because I think the last time I looked, they were ranked 25th over at PFF. So big question marks, but I think he has a good range of outcomes. If again, huge if he's able to stay healthy. I've got him pre-injury, pre 3 weeks ago. I was taking him a good amount because I was always pick 12. That's okay.
Yeah, and that's fine.
That's
Like if
fine.
you probably paired him with the top receiver, and yeah,
Yep,
I
sure
would have
did.
said that's a good start.
Sure did. All right. Again, the phone number to call in. I think that was the news that we talked about early in the show. But again, the phone number to call in 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call in button on the Sirius XM app. Just a little bit more news here that we're talking through in the water cooler. And again, fantasylife.com. Always want to recommend and tell people to go over there. That is where you can get all of our articles 100% free. Use that code SXM20. SXM20 gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 subscription to Fantasy Life Plus. You see the report from the Bengals reporters. The Bengals are utilizing Chase Brown quote more split out wide versus linebackers and have restructured the run game specifically around his skill set. Things that we love to hear a few days before the season. I love Chase Brown. I don't have enough of him. He's one of those guys where if you don't, it depends on where you draft because sometimes it's too early at the 1-2 turn. You're like, ugh, this is too early for Chase Brown. And then he goes by the middle back end of the second round with Bucky Irving. So again, someone that I want to have more exposure to, and just because of where I've been drafting, I haven't. But this is stuff you love to hear, Adam.
Yeah, I made it a point last week where I had pick 9. I took him in round 2
Yeah.
because I don't have much of him, and he's been going higher and higher. So I know that might feel early for some people, but that's where I've seen him go. My home league, he actually went early third round. He would have gone in the
Oh,
second, but someone, I guess the pick messed up and they didn't alert me right away because they were like, I wanted Chase Brown. I'm like, well, you should have told me. I would have changed it. They
yeah.
told me too late. They thought I wasn't going to change it. They thought I was you and a
Hey,
ruthless commissioner
no,
who doesn't make
no.
changes.
I make
So,
changes
no, you
depending on
don't.
what happens.
No,
If
you
it's a
don't.
2-minute clock, figure it out. It's just no offense.
Okay.
2 minutes?
Well,
You have a
not many
minute.
people do a 2-minute
I
clock.
know.
Mine
That's
was
because
like a minute.
That's because I'm so nice and I give
No,
you
it's
2
not.
minutes.
It's because you want to stay there all night. You're hoping that it'll put you to sleep and you can go to bed
So,
as soon as
yeah,
the
that's all
draft
my
is complete.
friends. Exactly. But
But no, look with Chase Brown. Look, we were waiting to see what happened, like all offseason. Are they going to sign a running back? Are they going to draft a running back? And they never did. So that's why Brown moved up to round 2. And from weeks 4 to 17 last year, he averaged 20.3 touches per game. He wasn't very efficient, though. That's the one thing. Like, if
mhm.
you really want to be negative about Chase Brown because you hear a lot of positives, he wasn't very efficient. What we do love is the volume is there and it's the offense because they are going to put up a lot of points. We expect their defense to be bad, so they're going to be involved in all these shootouts. So we're getting a running back that's going to get massive volume in a high-powered offense. But the efficiency really wasn't there for Brown. It was just massive volume, and he had 11 total touchdowns, 54 receptions, and he really didn't get going until like week 4 is when we started to see the volume, because the first 3 weeks he had 6, 4, and 9 touches, and then like I
Yeah,
said, from weeks 4 to 17, averaged 20 touches. So they also had no one behind him. They still
exactly.
they do now, but it's not like, oh, we're gonna get touches to Samaje Perine or
I worry about
Taj Brooks.
Samaje like as a pass catcher, maybe. I think that's the other thing
A
that if
little
we
bit
had
more
an
than last year.
if we had a knock because there wasn't anyone. Do you truly believe though too? I believe that if Zach Moss didn't get that neck injury, that it still would have been kind of a committee approach. Like they really didn't give him much until the Zach Moss neck injury, and like you said, they had no one behind him. So if you're looking for knocks on Chase Brown, you're right. Those are it. He was a solid contributor on the ground. We didn't see like the explosive. He wasn't very explosive when we look at him over there, and then he was much less involved before the loss of Moss as a receiver. But that's what makes me a little bit nervous about Samaje Perine. I haven't gone out of my way to draft Perine. I'd rather just wait and take Taj Brooks because if an injury
Yeah,
happens,
I think he's the real
yeah, if an
handcuff.
injury happens, they're not giving everything to Samaje. I think it'll be a split between Perine and Taj Brooks. But yeah, it was. I still really like Brown. I need more of him today. I'm gonna make it a priority. Hope no one's
Well, where do
listening.
you pick, or do you know your picks?
No, I have
And
no idea. I don't want to
really,
look at him because realistically, where do we
come
think
on,
I'm gonna pick? 12,
12.
11.
Stop. You had
I do
pick.
like that.
You had
I
a
had
draft where you
I had
had, what was
six,
the draft? Yeah,
six
and
and
then you had
four.
another draft. Didn't you have like 3 or 4 in
I
the
had
B Kendall
four.
league?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was that league. I did have four though. It was
yeah.
nice.
So come on.
Oh, good. And then it reminded me that I do like the back half of drafts this year.
There you
So
go.
if
So
anyone's
look,
listening,
I guess if you have pick 12 and you really want Chase Brown, you're gonna have to do it there. But that does seem,
oh, that's
there's,
kind of
it
early.
is. There's too many better players
That's how I
there.
feel about Bucky too. Like I want more Bucky Irving, and it's just they go in that same range where if you're not picks one through what 5, 6, or if you don't want to, you'll have to reach on them. That's how you get them. I don't have enough Bucky either.
Yeah,
That's
Bucky
okay.
usually late round 2. I somehow got him at 3-3 in the GSD. I could not
What?
believe it. Yeah, 3-3.
You also got Puka, right? That was the
Yeah,
same draft?
210.
Yeah, that's crazy. You have good receivers in that league. But again, Chase Brown, things we love to hear, restructuring the run game specifically around his skill set. So we'll see if that plays out. I want to mention this one was from early over the weekend, but I did want to mention that the Seahawks plan to build packages of plays for Jalen Milroe. We didn't talk about that last week, but again, we're not drafting Jalen Milroe. This isn't someone that we say, scoop him up and stash him. Even in those deep formats, that's not it. But if there ever was an injury to Sam Darnold, we know Jalen Milroe would step in. But Jalen Milroe maybe taking like his dual threat talents to the field this season, that would be kind of interesting. Not good for fantasy football because he could vulture some things away when we're talking about the running backs and just that kind of stuff. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they really start to use him like that.
Yes, that would not be good for these
No.
running backs. We talk a lot about Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. You don't want to see this happen where near the goal line, especially the tush push, that he's getting these carries. So, yes, you don't want to see that with these running backs.
No, but he flashed some of that playmaking ability, some growth during the preseason. So just throwing that out there. Hopefully we don't see too much of that. But as a Seahawks fan, I'm interested. I'm intrigued at him. Not for fantasy, but just as a Seahawks fan in general. That's what I'm looking for. All right.
Yeah,
That was
makes sense. You'll be
that,
hating it though with your
what
Kenneth
you with
Walker
my
Charbonnet.
Charbonnet Kenneth
Yeah.
Walker shares. Yeah, it won't be. I'll be sick to my stomach, but at least as a fan, I'll be like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Again, fantasylife.com. That's where all of our articles live 100% free. And then you can use that code SXM20. SXM20 gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 subscription. Let's head out to the phone lines now, though. Appreciate everyone waiting for us. Let's go out to Jeff. Jeff, what do you got for us?
Boy, I got a message what I got. Let me tell you, I need okay, Superflex 8 teams, and well, when I drafted, I some reason I got CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson 1-2.
What?
Then I went with Chase Brown, James Cook, George Kittle, DJ Moore, Isaiah Pacheco. I did a dumb move and did Roma Dunze, but I only have CJ Stroud and Sam Darnold on my team right now, and I'm looking to maybe drop Mark Andrews because I do have Kittle, and Kittle's bye is not till the 14th week. Hopefully he stays healthy. But my options are to pick are Cam Ward, Bryce Young, Tua. I don't want Stafford because of his age and his injuries. Between those three, to maybe have a QB3 or a QB2 in that respect, because again, I've got Stroud and Darnold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you not realize this was a Superflex league, or are you just trying to be real contrarian?
That's why he's calling in, Adam.
You know, I just kind of lost. When Justin Jefferson came up at pick 2, I just kind of lost my way. I'm like, this shouldn't be happening. And
no, I get that,
you know,
but
then
maybe rounds 4, 5, 6, maybe you decided to dip into the quarterback pool.
We can fix it. I like it.
Bryce Young for me would be the guy here, and I'd actually play him over Darnold too. Like,
yeah,
we saw Young really emerge down the stretch, especially on the ground. He started scoring rushing touchdowns. You bring in 6'5" Tedero McMillan to help, so it would be Bryce Young for me. And yeah, I guess I would. I don't know if you could trade Mark. It's an 8-team league, right? Mark Andrews.
You can probably just drop him.
Probably, yeah.
It's 8. If it's 8,
I mean, look, if the rest of your team, it obviously sounds great. If they all work out, then maybe you can get by. But man, in an 8-team league, those are your quarterbacks. Ooh, that is rough.
I've got 2 ahead of Bryce this weekend, though. I'll say that.
Oh, for this? Well, I'm saying for the season.
Yeah, for the season, though. You're right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Keep us updated on that, Jeff, because I kind of like it. Like, his team is stacked, minus the quarterbacks in a Superflex league.
I understand. We talk about Superflex all the time, and I am cool with waiting on that second quarterback. But at some point, you have to go, all right, it's an 8-team league. I don't know if these quarterbacks are good enough. Then again, last year, you could have had this being Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, and we probably would have laughed at you, and you were probably like, oh, yeah, who's laughing now? So
I think Jeff is one
that's
step
the
ahead.
hope. You got to hope that Stroud bounces back to his rookie year, and Darnold continues to be that good player that we saw last year and not a product of the system in Minnesota.
Let's do another. Let's go to, this is exciting, Ant-Man in New York. We're going out there. What do you got for us?
All right, I got a 12-team full point. My keeper is pick 9. It is Jamar Chase.
Okay.
This league also has 15 yards per point for quarterbacks. Should I go for my and they like drafting quarterbacks early, but should I go for one of my elite like a Burrow at number 2, which would be 2.04, or should I just go for a running back or a wide receiver, whichever the best one falls to me?
What do you think here? Elite quarterback in round 2, you know how we think, but I don't think if you want Joe Burrow, right, you could wait a round, it sounds like. Second round Joe Burrow?
The scoring is a little different, so
it's 15 yards. 15 yards per point.
Yeah, so that does favor the quarterbacks a little bit more because a lot of leagues it's 1 for 25 or sometimes 1 for 20, so it is a little bit uptick. I probably would still go in a different direction in round 2.
Yeah, 2 seems early. And if you're going 2, would you not take a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson?
Well, if he has Chase and you want to do the stack.
Oh, yeah, the stack.
I mean, a lot of people do it. So I'm seeing a lot of leagues where, especially in the high stakes where you're playing for an overall, they'll take Chase 1 and they'll come back and they'll take Burrow on the 2-3 turn because usually he doesn't make it to 4. So, yeah, you probably would like Burrow if you're going to have Chase.
So get him at that 204?
I probably would not do it. But again, I'd have to look closer at the scoring system. He said quarterbacks go early, so there's a chance that maybe those guys don't even make it back.
That's difficult. I would wait again. I want to believe that someone's going to be there in the third round, but again, others know their leagues better than us. But that's kind of our first overall reaction. If you are on hold, we are going to continue to get to you here. Appreciate everyone listening to us today. Kendall Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here. We're going to continue on though. We're going to go 5 weeks from now, presented by Xfinity. We're trying to make predictions. We're making predictions of what we're going to be talking about 5 weeks from now. Continue taking your calls as well. So just hold tight there, and we're going to do that coming up next. Oh, yeah. We've got you covered right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. What a song, too, by the way. Vibes are immaculate, Adam. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I can't believe it's September 1st. Where did the
No.
summer go?
I
I mean,
We're
football's
back. We're
here, so
back.
that's good.
was going to say, we're back. I like the colder weather. I don't like hot weather.
Yeah,
Not a
I
fan.
figured that. You stay indoors, just have the air conditioner on all day.
You've had nice weather though recently.
We
I'm kinda
have, yeah,
jealous. You've been cool.
It's like 79 has been the high,
What?
cool in the morning.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
jealous. Yeah, I'm jealous about that. But we do appreciate everyone hanging out with us right here. If you're on hold, we definitely see your phone calls, trying to get to them, as well as the questions on X. We're going through 5 weeks from now, presented by Xfinity, though. This is again brought to you by Xfinity, introducing the 5-year price guarantee, one consistent internet price for the next 5 years, guaranteed, because we don't usually have guarantees in fantasy football here, Adam. So a lot can change in 5 weeks, but 5 years, you get one internet price with Xfinity, which is amazing. 5 weeks from now, what do you think we're going to be talking about, though? One of my big ones is that Colston Loveland, we're going to be talking about how big of a part he plays in this Bears offense. I think that's going to be one of mine. Can say the same thing for Tyler Warren as well. But, to me, when I look at him, they selected him 10th overall for a reason. And I think that he really is going to have, this is not even me saying, hey, we're just loving even more rookies. But again, we've talked about this, and he's someone I'm comfortable leaving drafts with as my tight end one, and then making sure I come back with Hunter Henry, Bretton Strange. We talked about Chigga over there for the Tennessee Titans. But I think 5 weeks from now, that is something that we're talking about, saying, hey, a lot hopefully is going right for this team. But one of the big ones feels like Colston Loveland and his part in the Bears offense.
I could definitely see that because I think the same thing. When I see a team invest that early draft capital on a tight end, they have big plans. I was saying that about Brock Bowers last year because there were some people like, yeah, I don't know. And with Loveland, they took him before Tyler Warren, too. So you need to be patient with the Bears offense. It could be a slow start. It's a new offense. There's a lot of pieces there that they're trying to figure out. Yeah, I know Caleb Williams looked good in the last preseason game that he played in. That drive was real smooth, but there will be a little bit of a bumpy path, I think, for Chicago. It's going to take some time, but I could see Loveland playing a big role. A lot of people are just like, oh, there's so many guys there, but he creates a mismatch. They could use him in the slot, so I could see that happening.
Yeah, I feel the same way about, but just obviously a little bit different, but I feel the same way about Travis Kelce. Like 5 weeks from now, would we be shocked saying, "Oh, here it is"? He's got the tour going on, the farewell tour. It feels like this could be his last season with the Kansas City Chiefs. But you've got another season where they're starting off a little weak at wide receiver, right? Hollywood Brown, I think they're hoping that I think he should be good to go. The last that I checked, and then you've got the suspension for Rashee Rice, so they're really going to need Travis Kelce. They're really going to need Xavier Worthy. I think our expectations are that we hope that the Chiefs are going to be able to get back to an explosive way. And we believe that Patrick Mahomes is going to be a quarterback that maybe could finally get back inside the top 10 for fantasy football. He's been outside of it for the last couple of seasons. But yeah, I think Kelce, he's got the target projections that always keeps him involved and keeps him in the back of our minds at fantasy football. But in 5 weeks, I could see us being like, there he goes. A big part of this offense again.
Yeah, especially with Rice being out. I think that really helps.
Yeah, we'll see. Jackson Dart. Do you think we're talking about Jackson Dart in 5 weeks? You think it's a little early? It might be early.
That's a good question. We've been hearing nothing but positive things. So
They still have my one thing here is that they still have Jameis Winston. I mean, if it really does have to be that early, I could see them saying, you know what, let's get Jameis in there for a couple of games, maybe. To not to rush too much into Jackson Dart, but that's one of the questions that I have in 5 weeks if we're going to be talking about any quarterback changes for any team.
yeah, I think you should start him soon. That's just my opinion.
Darn.
So yeah, just you need to get him on there, especially if you feel he's the best quarterback in that room. So I think there was a GM that said that Dart should be the week 1 starter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. What are they doing with Jameis then? You think they trade him? Like, you don't need, I mean, I guess you do need, if something really bad happens, right? I guess you want to carry 3, but it's, Jameis Winston for us in fantasy, we're like, just trade him to somewhere that
Yeah,
needs
put him
him.
on a different team
Yeah,
so
come
he
on,
can
we
get
need
some
that
fantasy
back.
production.
We
Yeah.
need that back. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So do you feel the same way about Tyler Shuck? Spencer Rattler getting the start over there. We talked about that. But I could see Spencer Rattler like 5 weeks from now. I don't think that that's someone that we talk about. I think he's going to have a pretty long run over there with the Saints.
Oh, you do think he will?
Yeah, I do. It's just something where I thought that Tyler Shuck was going to be the week 1 starter, and it feels like they didn't see enough from him to give him
which
that.
is not good.
Like, I thought they drafted him for a reason, in my opinion. So, and I was believing the whole offseason that it was eventually going to be Tyler Shuck, but when they didn't announce it and it just kept being pushed, weeks and weeks and weeks, I was like, okay, well, I just don't think that that's great.
No, it's definitely not a good sign. I mean, we should see him, and we all expect the Saints to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. So at some point, they'll just have to go, all right, well, we already stink, and let's see what Shuck has. So I mean, if you look at their schedule to start, so they have the Cardinals at home to the 49ers, at Seattle, at the Bills. Oh, yeah.
Oof.
That could be an 0-4 start, and then you're at home against the Giants, which is like their winnable game. But even then, I think the Giants are improved, especially on that defensive line. So, yeah, it could get ugly for the Saints pretty fast.
The Giants could have 1 win in 6 weeks.
That would be
7,
nice. I wouldn't mind
8.
that.
Honestly, 8 weeks. Their schedule, because the Giants play the Saints October 5th, but Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers, Eagles twice, Broncos, 49ers.
The Giants will probably win one of the first 2 games.
You think?
Yeah, I do.
Commanders, Cowboys?
They'll win one of those, I'm afraid.
It was an upset?
Yeah.
Well, you let us know which one you think they're going to win. Because I'm seeing one potentially against the Saints.
Yeah,
And
that one
that's
they
it.
can win too. I know it's on the road, but
All right,
the Saints
so
are
2
pretty
wins.
bad.
2 wins. Do you think that your Cowboys are going to lose to the Giants?
I would not. I think the Cowboys could finish last place in the
Oh.
division.
Adam, that's bad. They turn into so with the we talked about the Micah Parsons trade. Does that turn them into the Bengals?
Yes,
offensively with the
they
defense.
They are the Bengals of the AFC.
I mean,
NFC. Sorry.
It's okay. We knew what you meant.
Yeah.
But I mean, that makes CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens all that more valuable, though. We've talked about that, but Dak Prescott through the air. I know you've taken him a good amount of places. I actually started to take him a little bit more, just to pour one out for you. But I kind of like it. Like the later Dak pickup with the CeeDee Lamb stack has been fun to do. I probably out of this whole team, I don't have a lot of George Pickens, and I did pass on him in one draft, and you said that's going to come back to haunt me. And
because I would say
definitely
that's
feel
one
that
thing.
now.
That's one thing I'll say 5 weeks from now. People are going to be like, "Why didn't I take George Pickens earlier?" Because I do think
Yeah.
he's going to go off this year, and a lot of it is tied to what we just talked about. Where I don't see the Cowboys running game having a lot of success. They'll be playing from behind. They're going to have to score a lot of points, and Pickens playing for a contract, get CeeDee Lamb on the other side. I think he's gonna have a huge year. Like he's moved up my rankings. Like it feels like daily. I just keep pushing him
You
up.
just keep
So,
looking. You're like,
yeah.
I got to do more. Got to do more.
Yeah. So in my home league, he won one pick before me. I was so mad. But
Because they knew. They
that
knew
guy
you were
was
going to
using.
take
Well,
him.
that guy was using my rankings. So
Yeah, of course. That'll
I
happen.
should have tinkered with them right before the draft and just sabotaged them for him.
Changed him a little bit. That would
Yeah.
have been so mean. That would have been awful. What are you talking about?
Like,
Don't
wait
do
a
that.
second.
Wait,
Why
I don't
always-
like him.
You took Pickens. You had him ranked 37th. Like, did you check the updated one? Oh, damn.
No, I didn't check the updated one. Oh my gosh. It's it's going to be interesting. It was that draft that I was doing too where I already had CeeDee Lamb, and you said that you're so comfortable with how this offense could look that is one of the few, cuz there's not a lot that we like to do that for in fantasy football, more specifically of getting the wide receiver 1 and the wide receiver 2, but you said I should have taken both.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I'm
it doesn't
actually
come
look,
back.
I know there are a lot of people that don't like to have two players on the same offense in fantasy, and they point to the week where, oh, they only scored 10 points or 13. And that's certainly possible, but I think more often than not, the Cowboys are going to put up big offensive numbers every week or most weeks. Same with the Bengals. Like a lot of people have. I've seen Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, Burrows. I've seen Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Burrow. Like that's an offense I'm fine with. Detroit's, if you believe they'll continue. So yeah, I mean, look, it's not ideal because the week that you have two players on one team and then they don't do well, you're gonna be like, oh, why'd I do that? But I think there are certain teams where I feel comfortable and yeah, I'd be all right with Lamb and Pickens together.
What do you have? Do you have your week 1 rankings done?
No.
Is he inside? Oh, okay. So
Well,
he's going to
Pickens
be
for this
inside.
week?
No. Dak
Oh,
inside your
Dak. I know
top.
it's a tough match. People are gonna
It's a
have day.
tough.
They're gonna have him very low this week.
I kind of have him low, but I can see myself changing it. We're days away from that, but I originally have him at 18.
Yeah, I think a lot of
It's a
people are
tough
gonna have him
matchup.
low.
Yeah.
But they also should play from behind. They're probably not going to have success running the football. You know, the Eagles have undergone some changes at cornerback. So I still think, like, I'm probably going to start him. Like, in the leagues. So I think
Well,
I
I
have one
have
league.
to start him, and
So where do you have Trevor Lawrence? I have a league with Dak and Trevor Lawrence. I know that for sure.
I've actually got Lawrence ranked pretty high this week for week 1. I remember that. I've got him at 13 because he's playing Carolina.
Okay. All right. So you would start
I would
Lawrence
play
over
Lawrence
Dak.
over Dak against Carolina. Yeah. Does that make me sick to my stomach? Yes.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun. But Dak for a lot of mine was my first quarterback taken. I think for most people. But yeah, if you got Trevor Lawrence, Drake May, I also have inside the top 13. Drake May going up against Las Vegas. Ugh. That'll be a
Yeah.
good that'll be a good one too.
I like Drake May this week too, and for the season. You know,
Yeah.
so just
So
the upgrades they made.
people could have some starter questions, with Dak that Thursday night game. So we'll see it again. Our rankings for week 1 are live at fantasylife.com. If you want to go and check those out, I'm going to continue. We always update those every single day. So I'll continue to look at that, but want to go back out to the phone lines if we can here though, 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. If we've still got Jeremy from St. Louis, let's go out to Jeremy here for a second.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for taking the call. I'm in a standard auction draft league, and I've got Christian McCaffrey, who's costing me $28 of a $100 budget as a keeper. I've got another league mate who's offering to draft Saquon Barkley and then trade me post the draft. Basically, I've told him if we can do that at anything $28 or less, I think I'd go for it. But kind of what your thoughts are on where I should be there and how I might change my draft approach after if I make this deal.
What do you think
So
here?
wait, so the deal won't be made till after the draft, right?
Because the guy has to draft Saquon. Yeah, because he's already kept CMC at 28 in a standard option.
Yeah. What if he backs out?
Well, then they don't go through with it.
Well, then you messed up your whole draft plan.
No, I think he already did it. I think CMC is costing him $28.
I don't
Adam
know.
doesn't like your league mate. Adam's saying, what if he messes with you? If you could trade CMC for Saquon in a standard auction for $28 or less, would you do it?
I mean, I have Barkley ranked higher, so yeah.
But you don't like it. You
Like
sound
they
skeptical.
both have some risk. We know
They
that.
do.
But I'd rather have Barkley.
Yeah, I would too. Nerve-wracking though.
It is. Again, it's all about the history of players coming off the amount of touches he had. It does not look good when you dig in. 482 touches, including the postseason. But it's also a unique situation with a great offensive line, a mobile quarterback that opens things up. He didn't take a lot of massive hits. A lot of those was a lot of untouched. You know, he was running free. So, and again, we've talked about McCaffrey a lot. It's scary to fade him because he could finish as the RB1 if he stays healthy, but he has not shown the ability to stay on the field.
I would still do it for Jeremy, and then make sure you've got the handcuffs. Will Shipley, Brian Robinson Jr. To back those guys up, depending on if you're able to get that done or not. But Will Shipley, I think we mentioned him. Maybe we didn't in our handcuff segment, but he's definitely the guy to have over there for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you do draft Saquon, he's late round two. He's not someone that you have to spend up on like we talked about with Charbonnet or Jordan Mason or any of those guys. But appreciate you calling in, Jeremy. Appreciate everyone waiting on hold. We are going to continue to get to those phone calls, but that was 5 years from now, presented by Xfinity. Again, we were trying to go through what could be happening 5 weeks from now, excuse me, because 5 years from now, I know what's happening with you at Xfinity. They introduced their new 5-year price guarantee. So it's one consistent internet price for the next 5 years, totally guaranteed. Make sure you go and check that out. We're going to continue on, Adam, continue taking phone calls, continue going through our questions over on X. Dark horse fantasy candidates for each team, guys that you can take in some of the final rounds of your drafts that have potential to maybe pay off their ADPs as the season goes along. We're giving you those names coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here with you on this Monday. Hopefully you're having a great start to your day. We've got drafts going on tonight throughout the week, so we are here to help you, and fantasylife.com is also here to help as well. All of our articles 100% free. Week 1 rankings are live as well. Season long always, and still will be updated throughout the week, because we know it's not just today, Adam. We've got people probably drafting this weekend as well. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us. I want to go through a couple questions here before going through some of these dark horse fantasy candidates for each team. Got a question here from Richard saying, should I attempt to trade Ollie Gordon to the team who has Achane, or hang on to him for if and when Achane is hurt again? I could use Sutton for a stack. And I think this is an interesting topic right now, Adam, because we've got people thinking about trades right now. You might, have drafted Ollie Gordon and said, I could use this as leverage, trading him to the team who has Achane. Good or bad idea? What do you think?
Again, it depends on what you get back. Like, did he really say he was going to try and trade Gordon for Cortland Sutton?
Yep.
Yeah,
Stranger things have happened.
I doubt that gets done. I mean, if you can do it, yeah, I would, but I doubt that's going to get done. I mean, yes, people are desperate sometimes to get their handcuff. I don't think they're that desperate. And look, the worst case scenario is I don't mind having someone else's handcuff. Again, it comes down, and look, there is an element of luck involved, right? You need an injury to occur for that player. There were probably situations last year where you had someone else's handcuff or a handcuff, and they never made it into your lineup at all because we had a lot of running backs stay healthy. But if I had Gordon and the Achane manager wanted him for me, I mean, I'm going to try and get whatever I can. And if I'm not going to just give it to him, though. Just say, oh, yeah, here's your handcuff. No, you got to give me something. And, especially if they're coming to you, there is that kind of desperation. So,
yeah, definitely.
I would be surprised if they traded Sutton, though, for him. If they are willing to do that, then yeah, I would. You get a number one that's playing every single week. Whereas with Gordon, there's a chance, as good as he looked in the preseason, there's a chance we don't see much of him this year. If Achane's healthy and then Jalen Wright comes back and they decide we're going to give him the backup role, so there is that chance. But obviously, Gordon's been a hot commodity. He's going to be one of the hot waiver wire pickups for those that drafted in July or early August. I know I did 2 drafts early August. He's available in both.
Yeah, same here. I'm trying to get him. I think I'm going to have to spend a pretty penny though to be able to get him in some of these fab pickups. So again, yeah, it's why not, right? The worst they could say is no, and maybe they roast you in the group chat, but at least you tried here, Adam. Another one that I saw that I want to make sure we get to from Doug here. It says, tonight is my first ever Superflex draft, which is going to be so fun, by the way. I think that should be standard, but whatever. That's a different conversation. What would you do? Take a QB at spot 6 or just the best player available? Most likely Mahomes will be there as the highest QB left at that point. 6 is a weird spot, Adam, in a Superflex, because usually you have Allen, Jackson, Daniels, Hurts, sometimes Joe Burrow go in the top 5. Now, to me, if Joe Burrow's there at 6, I'm taking him. If any of those 5 are there at 6, to me, I'm just going to say, yeah, I want that guy. But then you start getting into the best player available conversation where Mahomes usually is there at 6. You've got Jamar Chase, you've got Bijan Robinson on the board. Those are the only 3 that I think I look at 6. I don't look at Bo Nix, in my opinion. I don't look at Baker Mayfield, CeeDee Lamb. if you like him, but I have Jamar Chase over CeeDee Lamb. So I say if the first 5, any of those 5 are there, but more specifically Burrow, I'm going to take him. I'm okay passing on a Patrick Mahomes, though.
Yeah, I
What
am
say
too.
you?
It's always tricky in these super flex leagues because I know some of the ones we've done this year that people have waited on quarterback longer than I'm used to, but also in the home leagues, the quarterbacks go quickly. But if I'm 6 and those top 5 quarterbacks off the board, I'm just going Jamar Chase. And then I'll see what comes back to me in round 2. And I know people panic and they're like, oh, I can't do that. Who are my quarterbacks going to be? But you're talking about the number 1 consensus pick at every draft falling to you at 6. So just take that advantage and then, see what comes back to you in round 2. If the quarterbacks do fly off the board, maybe you start a trend where everyone goes,
Yeah.
okay, you know what? I'm going to pass on quarterback too. But I do think most people don't feel comfortable leaving a super flex league draft without a quarterback in the first 2 rounds. We did the flex league draft here that I did the broadcast, and there were several, I think there were 2 teams that waited until round 6 to get their first quarterback. But that's
What?
not going to happen in a home league, though.
Yeah, no,
It's
that
just
will
not.
not happen. Their 6th round to get their second quarterback or their
Their
first?
first.
Woof. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Usually not. And I understand people being a little bit scared about it, but you can still, like, you get Jamar Chase, you can still come back around with a Drake May, potentially a Purdy, depending on who you're drafting
Maybe
with.
even a Dak. You
I
might
think
be
a
able to
Dak
get
is going to
Dak.
be there. Caleb
Maybe.
Williams.
That's the thing. It's so difficult giving advice because all these super flex league drafts are different. You could see one where Dak makes it to round 2, and I could see one where someone takes him early round 2. So that's why I always say you have to play the board and see how others draft. But most home leagues, people panic and they take the quarterbacks early.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to, though. You don't have to take one with your first pick.
And you could come even back around for the 3rd round. Like Jordan Love to me is going to be there. Justin Herbert, Jared Goff, McCarthy for sure, in my opinion, unless someone's really high on him, unless you're drafting with Thor Nystrom, who would take him probably as the 101. But if you're not drafting with him, then McCarthy could be there. Lawrence, there are some good options. So again, if one of those top 5 quarterbacks drops to 6, then yes. And I've seen that before. I take whoever is there, and then if not, it's best player available. And for me, that's Jamar Chase at 6. But that's definitely a more tough spot to draft from in super flex format. So appreciate the questions there. Again, at K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis. If you guys have anything for us today, we are here to help you in a lot of drafts that we know are going on tonight. We're going to go through those dark horse fantasy candidates for each team, though. Some later round receivers that you can look at, some backup running backs that we have to talk about as well. We're giving you those names coming up next. Oh, you sure are. Hopefully you guys are having a great Labor Day. Appreciate you spending the time with us here. We're getting you ready for all your drafts, the final push. I'm looking through some of my old drafts, thinking I need to join Adam's beat Adam League tonight because some of them are pretty gross from July.
That can happen. I mean, look.
It for sure happens. July? Yeah.
We've said, like, there's always positives about drafting early. You get a lot of value. The negatives are some players get hurt. Things change. I know you're probably looking to see a lot of Marshawn Lloyd, right?
Oh, yeah. Don't do this.
No, I have him too.
Yeah,
I know I took
Lloyd.
him.
I'm not spending a lot, but I have seen he's one of my guys on waivers that we've talked about. If you've got a waiver run, which should be starting soon. I've got some that run today.
Really? Today?
Yeah, today. I saw some go through already.
I think most of mine are on Wednesdays for the most part.
I think that's going to be pretty standard. But Emmanuel Wilson is the guy. You know, if we're looking at Josh Jacobs, we never want anything to happen, but we know some of the injury luck or some of the injury gods that take things away from us. And so Emmanuel Wilson, I've got a lot of Marshawn Lloyd, so I'm trading him out. He can never stay healthy.
And it's like a lot of different things. Didn't he have an appendectomy at the end of last year too?
Yeah,
it's like multiple things.
It is. It's one of those where I'm just saying, you know what? I'm just gonna go get Emmanuel Wilson as the handcuff to Jacobs. I think another one that got a lot of hype late, but Keandre Lambert-Smith, the hype train. You believe in that one for the Chargers over there? There's obviously there's a lot of things going on with the Chargers. We know that, we've talked about Ladd McConkey over there and what that looks like. We've talked about Keenan Allen, all this other stuff. But Keandre Lambert-Smith, 20 rounds, I think he gets drafted.
Yeah, I've seen him get drafted in the leagues with 20 rounds. And yeah, it's going to take things happening in front of him for sure, but he is one of the guys that kind of opened eyes there in the preseason.
I think Jalen Nailor has a chance to play as well, which I thought originally with his hand injury that maybe he wasn't going to be able to do that again. We're talking about Jalen Nailor. We're talking about, other guys, Adam Thielen, because of the Jordan Addison suspension. Again, he's gone for 3 weeks, but looks like they're optimistic that Nailor will be available for week 1, going up against the Chicago Bears on the road. That's Monday Night Football. So he had a left hand injury on August 14th at training camp. They said he was more week to week. But again, I want to bring him up just because of the suspension. If you got maybe a Jordan Addison and you came back with a Thielen, if you came back with a Jalen Nailor, you might be able to put him in there. Flex. It's not the prettiest, but could be an option.
Yeah, probably Thielen be there hurts him. Thielen is that
Yeah.
veteran that can just jump in and would feel more optimistic about him.
Dante Thornton, you buying that one? Little late round dark horse sleeper?
Yeah, I've been drafting him.
I
Obviously,
have too.
cannot start him, but we've seen really good things out of him. A lot of people thought it was Jack Besh at first, but it looks like Thornton has passed him. Of course, you do have Amari Cooper coming in there, but
Don't.
I don't think he has much left. I really don't with
No.
Cooper.
I'm not letting Amari
I'd
Cooper
much
stand in
rather
the way
have
of
Thornton.
Exactly. I'm not letting Cooper, just like I said about Torrey Horton, who's another one. You didn't let Marquez Valdez-Scantling stand in the way of you drafting Torrey Horton. Don't let Amari Cooper stand in the way of Dante Thornton. Those are my 2 favorite later round guys. Again, not a clear-cut path at the beginning, right? But in case things happen, if they really start to show out later down the line in the season, and then they could be your first cuts. That's how you look at them.
Yeah, we can't keep everyone, unfortunately, but you hope
Unfortunately.
you could keep some of these talented players and hold on.
Let's do it. Hopefully Achan's ready for week 1. The Achan bags are a little heavy, guys. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here. We'll be back same time tomorrow. Have a great, safe day. We'll see you then.